Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and it's time to do my monthly graphic novel review segment called GN Monthly. This is for the graphic novels I read during the month of January 2013. Okay, starting off with Image Comics is a series that I'm starting to collect in trade form, and it's been around for a while, and I've just started reading it. Volume 2 of The Walking Dead. In this volume, Rick and the other survivors make their way to a farm where after pretty much they find some other survivors. Then when they're hunting one day, some guy accidentally shoots and injures Carl, and the guy who shot Carl takes him to this farm where he lives with this farmer, and pretty much he's able to help Carl, and they're all welcome to stay at the farm while Carl heals. But they discover that the farmer has been keeping some of the walkers in his barn, so that one day, in case they find a cure, they could cure them. Mainly because one of the walkers is the farmer's son. But unfortunately, one day when they tried bringing in another walker into the into the barn, it all goes wrong. All the walkers get out, so they're forced to kill them all. And anyways, they just get pissed at them. But ultimately, some of the farmers' kids die, and they are able to kill all the walkers. But after that, things just get worse between the Rick's group and the farmers and the farmer, and then they just suddenly just stop getting along until finally until when they're ready to leave, Glenn decides to stay behind because he's fallen in love with the farmer's daughter. So that's where Glenn stays, and the volume pretty much ends with Rick and the gang finding an abandoned prison, and that's where they think they're going to make their home now. Walking Dead. I am liking this. Okay, I think this is a great series. I don't know why I've delayed reading this, but it's great. Pretty much everyone, whenever someone asks like what good comics are there from Image, everyone can always say The Walking Dead. And I have seen season 1 of the TV show. I like that too. So, I think I'm really starting to walk the walk. I'm really starting to like The Walking Dead both as a comic book and as a TV show. I have the second season on DVD. I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet. Okay, now it's time for Marvel. First off, Uncanny X-Force, Volume 1, Final Execution, Part 1. This is the first half of the last story arc for Uncanny X-Force. Well, the first volume of Uncanny X-Force. It's written by Rick Remender. Pretty much, this issue, Wolverine's bastard son, Daken, has formed a new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants that consists of Mystique, Age of Apocalypse, Blob, Sabretooth, the Skinless Man, and the fat guy who's this guy again? Fat guy with glasses. Fat guy with glasses and a fez. Phantom X here says he's called Farouk, and also clones of Omega, and some clones of Omega Red called the Omega Clan. So pretty much Daken decides new plan to get back at Wolverine is to destroy X-Force and also corrupt the clone of Apocalypse that Phantom X raised, known as Genesis. They kidnap Genesis, and they plan to convince him to become Apocalypse, while they also pretty much bomb the crap out of X-Force's base. And it looks like they're dead, but they were able to escape to the future thanks to Deathlock. But it's a future that's now that has a militaristic government that's constantly policed by X-Force, where everyone's constantly policed by X-Force, and their leader is Psylocke, who last story arc with the events in Otherworld decided to give up any feelings of sorrow. Alright, well, first half of the story arc, and I'm interested in it. Okay, it's really good. It's teaming up probably a bunch of deadly mutants or mutant enemies so that they can all take care of probably one of the biggest threat, one of the mutant community's biggest teams. In this case, X-Force, because X-Force is mostly the silent assassins, the guys who deal with the big threats before they can arise, and they do it all in secrecy. Now, Dawkins wants to take that away from Wolverine. So, Uncanny, and also this is going to be the last X-Force story arc written by Rick Remender. So, if you've enjoyed Uncanny X-Force, if you liked Rick Remender's work, I would definitely recommend picking this up because you're going to want to know how it ends. And the first half of Final Execution is out right now. The second half won't come out and won't be out until the end of February next month. So I'm definitely going to get that when it comes out. I can't wait for it. Alright, another Marvel book. New Avengers Volume 3. This is pretty much the New Avengers side of The Return of Hammer, where Norman Osborn is... Pretty much this is more involved with the new team of Dark Avengers that Osborn put together when he was... after he escaped prison and he tried to reinstate Hammer. Now... he also formed his own team of new Dark Avengers, and pretty much that's what the New Avengers take care of, while the Avengers deal with Hammer and Osborn. I liked it. I really did. I would definitely, if you read Volume 3 of the Avengers, I would definitely recommend New Avengers. If you liked it, then I would say you should get New Avengers Volume 3 because it reads well with it. It's a perfect companion to it. They both go together. I mean, with Avengers, you got like maybe 50% of the story arc, and with New Avengers, if you get that with New Avengers, you get the entire thing. And it's good too because this one also answers how Captain America was able to escape Osborn's custody when he and the other Avengers were captured. That's probably the only thing I can draw from my head right now, but still, it's a great story. I would definitely recommend you pick this up if you're getting Avengers Volume 3. In fact, get them together, because I think they work well that way. I mean, although I would recommend you read one, then the other, not try to read each issue side by side. That would just be confusing. But yeah, mostly it's mostly with the New Avengers dealing with the new Dark Avengers. Nothing really Osborn directly. Although you do get, Spider-Man... Though, if you were wondering where Spider-Man is during this whole Return of Osborn, then you should get New Avengers. Just saying. Still, it's a great book. I would definitely recommend it. Alright, now it's time for DC. And what better way to kick off with another Batman book! This is the start of Grant Morrison's run on Batman. It is Batman and Son, and it's also the first appearance of Damian Wayne, where Batman discovers... he has a son. And it's very good. I mean, we've seen Damian... if you're reading Batman now, then you know Damian's kind of a brat. But let me tell you something. He is far worse when he first met Batman, okay? He really is. So... I mean, he beat up Tim Drake, stole Jason Todd's tunic from the Robin Memorial... basically so that he could go fight crime by his father's side, and also he nearly killed... well, actually, I think he did kill... wait, did... yeah, I think he really did kill someone during his first little adventure in Gotham. And also in this issue we have another one-shot that features an alternate future where Damian Wayne is the Batman. It was issue Batman 666. So if you have been reading Batman currently, or Batman and Robin, and you may be a fan of Damian Wayne, then I would definitely recommend picking this up so that you can see where it all began. And also, if you enjoyed Grant Morrison on Batman and you haven't read his first story arc, then I'd say pick this up too, because this is where pretty much Grant Morrison began everything. The Black Glove, all the way to Batman Rest in Peace. I highly recommend it. Okay, moving along. Something that's not really my usual heroes, but I have started to get into this hero because of his new TV show, Green Arrow. Yeah, I started looking up a bunch of Green Arrow graphic novels right around the time Arrow started to air on the CW, and I do like Arrow. It's a really great show. It isn't exactly like Smallville. It is kind of similar to Smallville, but it isn't really the same thing. It's similar but different. And this is probably one. And when I looked at some lists that recommended Green Arrow graphic novels, this was on there, and it did get good reviews. It's Green Arrow Longbow Hunters. This is pretty much the first Green Arrow. It's a 3-issue mini. The Longbow Hunters was a 3-issue miniseries written and drawn by Mike Grell, and later, because of this miniseries, it launched the first ever Green Arrow ongoing, which was popular throughout the 90s. And this story is pretty much Oliver Queen. He's kind of at a midlife crisis. He discovered that his former ward, Roy Harper, has a daughter, so that technically makes him a grandfather, and he's also, starting to make some changes and because of this, he kind of makes some changes. Well, he's in the middle of a change right now when he moves to Seattle. He's living with Black Canary, and he does propose to her in, the first issue, but she says no. And later, Oliver decides to, kind of get back in the crime-fighting gang, where he hears about this serial killer that's on the loose in Seattle, so he pretty much abandons his trick arrows to get back to using the longbow and basic arrows, and also this is when he starts wearing the hooded hunter outfit. And also throughout this series, he's not really called Green Arrow during this. And I remember people said this about Mike Grell's run on Green Arrow, is that Oliver wasn't really formally referred to as Green Arrow. He was just referred to as a vigilante, and it's not so much really a superhero book as much as it is kind of a vigilante outlaw type book. But Longbow Hunters, it pretty much ushered in a new era for Green Arrow, and I would really recommend it. You give this a shot because artwork's pretty nice, but the story itself is amazing, and I would really recommend this to people and this is probably going to be on my list for Green Arrow recommendations, especially now since Arrow's popular. And speaking of the Arrow TV show, all those flashbacks that about Oliver's time on the island? Well, most of them are drawn from this Green Arrow Year 1. Pretty much this is how Oliver Queen got on the island in the first place. He gets betrayed by his sort of business partner or bodyguard, and he washes up on what he thinks is a deserted island, but it turns out the island is home to one of the biggest heroin operations in the world, and Oliver decides to step up and free these people from captivity and stuff. And, a lot of the flashback, and when I was reading this, I kind of, thought, wait, this is like what happened on Arrow when TV Oliver was on the island. So, if you like the Arrow TV show and you're a little curious about what exactly happened during the flashbacks, Year 1 can give you a good idea. Although I will say this, for a book called Year 1, I am happy that they did explore Oliver's time on the island a little more, but I wish we could have gotten some more about Green Arrow's early days in Star City. Or him being an actual crime fighter for the first time, and also maybe developing a few trick arrows, early trick arrows and stuff. Although there are a few in here, like a bomb arrow or a flash arrow. But basically, Year 1 kind of has a similar feel to Longbow Hunters, where it wasn't really about the tricks or the gimmickry. It was more about Oliver Queen being a man who's trying to fight injustice. That's it. So yeah, I would definitely, if you enjoyed Arrow, the TV show, then I would definitely recommend you pick up Green Arrow Year 1. Alright, now for a hero who has a movie coming out this summer. Superman! This is the Man of Steel Volume 2. This is pretty much the first. This is pretty much right after Crisis of Infinite Earths. This is the collects the first few issues of the rebooted Superman from right after Crisis, where we've got new Superman. He's more down to earth. It also collects the first 3 issues of the new volume of Superman comics, the new post-crisis Metallo, so to speak, and it's definitely and also Superman's first meeting with Darkseid, post-crisis. All I can say is if you are a fan of like the late 80s, 90s Superman, this is a good book for you. And also a lot of elements of the early it's written by John Byrne, whose early issues of Superman also were taken into development for the Lois and Clark series. So if you like Lois and Clark too, this is a good book for you. Yeah. So far, I'm kind of liking the whole early post-crisis era for Superman. I think all these stories are pretty great. And probably one of my favorite stories in this is when Lex Luthor actually tries to use his huge computer system and scientists to figure out who Superman is and his relationship to Clark Kent, and the computer actually determines that Clark Kent is Superman. And when Lex Luthor hears this, he just says, "Alright, the computer's broken. This is not true. There's no way Superman would disguise himself as a human." I thought that was really hilarious when Lex's reaction to the fact that a computer spells it out for him that Clark Kent is Superman, and he just can't accept it. And also that other story arc I mentioned where Superman meets Darkseid for the first time, it kind of reminded me of Superman the Animated Series. If you like that cartoon, then you'll probably love the Darkseid portion of this, because because in that story arc, Superman is brainwashed by Darkseid into believing that he's Darkseid's adopted son, which was also the series finale for the Superman animated series. So again, a lot of elements of like the Superman animated series and Lois and Clark came from this book. So if you like those shows, you're definitely going to like this. Alright, next up. Superman Ending Battle. This is pretty much the return of Manchester Black from Superman and the Elite. Black comes back and he has his powers back too, which was explained to after he was arrested in custody. He was made an offer to sort of work for the government, and they helped restore his powers, but eventually turned on them, and now he's trying to make Superman's life a living hell by sending out Superman's identity to almost every single supervillain that the Man of Steel has ever fought. Not just on Earth, but like every other galaxy. He sends that information to them so that they can pretty much all attack Superman and take him out. But Superman shows up. He's able to take them all on. But while Superman's dealing with all these supervillains, Manchester Black, meanwhile, goes and finds Lois Lane. He personally tortures her. And then he makes Superman believe that he actually killed Lois, which drives Superman crazy. He almost kills Black, but he doesn't. Pretty much the ending to this is very similar to what happened in Superman vs. the Elite, which was pretty much Manchester's Black objective was to kind of like break Superman down, make him realize that his beliefs are a little outdated, but even still, despite what Black's done to him, Superman would never cross that line. And at that point, Black's like, okay, this was all a lie. I didn't actually kill Lois, and also everyone has instantly forgot your secret identity. And Black pretty much leaves Superman in peace, but then later, Black just commits suicide. And, oh yeah, also another thing about the story arc, Superman, up until this story arc, Superman was wearing this, because of the aftermath of Our Worlds at War, Superman started to wear like a darker blue and red costume with, instead of yellow on the S shield, there's black. Well, at the end of this story arc, he switches back to his classic costume. So that's just a little tidbit for you there. Yeah, I'd say Superman Ending Battle is a very great story arc, and it's something that if you liked Superman vs. the Elite, then you're gonna like this. Okay, you're gonna really love it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was sort of a great callback to this. Oh yeah, also the Elite do make an appearance in this, but it's kind of brief. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Superman Ending Battle if you enjoyed Superman vs. the Elite, and also if you're a Superman fan. Alright, well, one more book, and I just read this one yesterday, and this arrived from Amazon yesterday, and I read it in one afternoon, and I thought it was pretty good. Wonder Woman, Volume 2. This pretty much continues Wonder Woman's journey to protect the mother of Zeus's unborn child. Picking off from the last volume, Wonder Woman goes to Hell, and to save Zola, who's carrying Zeus's child from Hades, Lord of the Dead. And Diana makes a deal with Hades that if he lets the mother go, then she'll agree to be his queen. So Wonder Woman does, but fortunately through a long series of events involving Hephaestus, the forger of weapons, she's able to get out of it and avoid being Hades' wife. And eventually, but after she deals with Hades, she has to deal with Hera and Apollo, who's now starting to make a move to take over Zeus's throne since Zeus is gone. Basically, because Hera's pissed. Gotta admit, nice move. Anyways, Wonder Woman deals with Apollo and Hera, but right when Apollo does grab the throne of Zeus, he exiles Hera to Earth and makes her mortal. And also when Wonder Woman deals with Apollo, Apollo just lets her go, and Zola gives birth to Zeus's child, but the child is taken by Hermes to give to the goddess of the forest. I forgot the name. Yeah, sorry about the crappy summary. I just read this yesterday, so not really a lot of time to process it, and also it's still kind of recent, so it's just sort of sinking in. Only reason I did this was because technically I read it in January, so I wanted to include it in the GN Monthly. Apologize for the crappy review here, but Wonder Woman Volume 2, I like it. I kind of like it. It's still something I want to wait for and trade, but I think it's great. I like how Brian Azzarello is sort of combining the modern superhero elements with elements of the Greek mythology, with Wonder Woman and the other gods and goddesses. It's amazing. Also, the ending here, we get a teaser for the new gods, with Orion. So can't wait for that. But yeah, Volume 2, Wonder Woman. I'd say if you enjoyed Volume 1, you might like this. Other than that, that's pretty much it. That concludes GN Monthly for this month. Hope you liked it. Sorry about my poor reviewing method with Wonder Woman again. Sorry. Hope you liked everything else. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.